Thank you for joining us for today's video. We are going to discuss Ember and Elm, which is a restaurant located inside Dollywood's Heart Song Lodge, and then we're also going to talk about the Song and Hearth, which is the restaurant located inside of Dollywood's Dreamore Resort. We will tell you what the differences is, the style, some of the foods they offer, and the pricing. So first, let's start with the Dreamore Resort. We have the Song and Hearth restaurant. We have eaten here a couple times. We have had Easter dinner, we've tried breakfast, we've had dinner. And depending on the day of the week, they have different offerings. But the one thing that is consistent with the Song and Hearth is they do buffet style. A reservation is recommended with the Song and Hearth. And when we went, there was a pizza section. They had pasta, garlic bread, a couple different kinds of pizza. It was just your basic cheese pizza, pepperoni pizza. The pizza was actually pretty good. We were surprised. A lot of times on a buffet, it gets kind of dried out and just chewy. But there was just some good, cheesy, greasy pepperoni pizza. Then they had a meat carving station with some ham, roast beef. I tried some of each. The roast beef was actually pretty good. I'm not a big roast beef fan. The ham was more of a, it wasn't country style. It wasn't as salty and as fatty. And then they had mac and cheese, they had some mashed potatoes, they had a couple different casseroles, there was green bean casserole, and then they also had a kids section where they had chicken tenders, they had some fries. And it was a really nice setup, honestly. There was quite a bit of food. And then when you got to the dessert station, which they have this at breakfast too, they have a donut wall, which is just a big glass cabinet that you can open up that has donuts hanging on a hook, and they are there to eat, try, whatever kind you want. There's some with different icings, different colors. There were none that were filled. Of course, you got them on a hook on a donut wall, so that's not going to work. But it's just a beautiful presentation. When you open the cabinet, all the sugar of walking into a donut shop or a bakery just hits you in the face. And they had cupcakes, there was cookies, there was parfaits, there was brownies. There was quite a bit to choose from. There was little slices of pies and pieces of cake. And all kinds of stuff to try. I think we counted like 10 or 12 different things, like I said, between the parfaits, and there was mousse, and you name it, they seemed to have it. There was some cookies, there was some brownies, there was like a coconut pie, there was a key lime pie. There was a wide variety of different pies and brownies and desserts, and it was all in small little portions or almost finger sizes. Now, the best part about this was we had really good service. The food, especially for buffet style, whether it's breakfast or dinner, everything stays fresh. They have constant temperatures on all the dishes on the table. You can see it's like 200 degrees, 180 degrees. So the quality of the food's really good. The safety, keeping everything warm, hot, fresh, excellent. It was just the pricing that we weren't the biggest fans of. For two of us, including drinks and tips and everything, it was around like $120, $125 to have dinner. Like I said, quality of the food, presentation, taste, everything was great, but it was not worth $100 and something for two people. I believe the prepaid price is $60, and then you get a discount if you have a Dollywood season pass. Depending on what level you have, you get 10 or 15% off. Even with that, it still wasn't worth it. It's a enjoyable dinner, but it is very pricey in our opinion. Then if you go to Ember and Elm, which is located in Dollywood's other resort, the Heart Song Resort, it's entrees you get waited on, which you do at the other Song and Hearth. But in Ember and Elm, it's a casual sit-down full-service restaurant. Not buffet style. At least when we did dinner, it was not. So we tried a couple different things. We got some, they start you out with cheddar biscuits and pepper jam. And the cheddar biscuits are fine. They're good biscuits. The pepper jam was pretty good. But what separated them was their short rib skillet with grits. The grits were good grits. But the short ribs, it was similar to a roast. It was just so tender. It just fell apart, but it had a smoky flavor to it. They even had carrots that they had cooked on top in the oven with it. Neither one of us are fans of carrots, but those carrots we were fans of. It was almost like carrot chips or strips of carrots that were just, and they had a vague carrot flavor. That's why we were saying they were cooked in with the short ribs. And then we had a flatbread Nashville hot chicken with hot honey pizza. So basically you had hot chicken seasoning on top of hot honey on top of the pizza with some mozzarella cheese, and it had an Alfredo base. This just smelled amazing because there was bacon on it too. So you had bacon, you had the Alfredo sauce, you could smell the hot honey, and the taste did not disappoint. The bacon was crunchy, the cheese was stringy, the hot chicken had a nice seasoned flavor to it, like it was kind of a medium spiciness. It wasn't extremely spicy. There was some flavor because we like spicy stuff, but not something that's just so hot it just burns and has no taste. And even the Alfredo was just, that was the difference. If there was marinara sauce, it would not have worked so well. And the crust was really soft because it was toasted, but it wasn't like chewy or burnt or anything. And just everything tied in so well together between the sauces and the bacon and the stringy cheese and nice soft toasted crust. And then for dessert, we tried some cinnamon bread pudding. So you had Dollywood's famous cinnamon bread made into bread pudding with caramel sauce and pecans over the top of it. And the first thing you notice as it's on its way to the table, even before it got to the table, you could smell the hot cinnamon bread. You could smell the pecans. It almost tasted like pecans you would get at a carnival or something. And then you had the hot caramel sauce drizzled over the top of it. Like I said, you could smell it coming to the table. The taste was just as amazing as you thought it was going to be. I mean, you get this and you can't go wrong with it for dessert. So between the two, we had a better time at Ember and Elm, but it probably depends on what you're in for. Because if you're dining with a family, maybe the buffet option's a better way to go. If you got kids or if you got picky adults in your party, it gives you a ton of options because you got the carving station. If you end up going to Song and Hearth at Dollywood's Dreammore Resort, like I said, and you do the buffet style, it just gives you a lot of variety. Yes, it is kind of pricey, but then it gives you a lot more options for dinner. Ember and Elm's more of a couple setting, or if there's 4 or 5 adults, not so much for the kids. You each get an entree. It's a little more business casual setting. Even the dishes are a little nicer. Like I said, we had the beef short ribs, which was cooked with, like I said, carrots shredded on top and had a sauce over it. So it's just a little finer dining. So it really depends on which one you want to go, but we would recommend Ember and Elm. So thank you for watching this video. We would appreciate any comments or feedbacks. If you'd like to see more restaurant reviews, more videos like this where we do restaurant reviews and hotel reviews, then please subscribe.